My name is Tessa Calder, and I'm 32 years old. Melody's engagement party smelled like sugared mint and the kind of optimism people rent for an evening. We'd claimed a corner table under Edison bulbs that made everyone look warmer than they were. Miles Avery, my fiancé, 6 months from vows and a honeymoon itinerary we'd repeated like a spell, leaned into me with mojito number 4 and a grin calibrated for approvals. "So how's your planning going?" someone asked. "We're all set," Miles said, voice bright with borrowed confidence. Then he added, too casually, "I did update my contingency plan last week." I thought I misheard. Melody didn't. "Contingency plan?" Miles laughed. "You know, keeping options open. Brielle still checks in, says she'll wait forever." He said her name like a toast. Brielle, his ex-girlfriend. Suddenly, the Edison bulbs felt like hospital lights. I looked at him. "You're texting your ex?" "Don't be insecure, Tess." He patted my hand, a kindergarten teacher's gesture. "She's just a backup plan. Every smart person has one. It's like insurance. You hope you never need it." Around the table, his friends perfected their shut-up faces. One of them, Tammy, broke ranks. "I mean, you never burn a bridge completely. That's just practical." My mouth had gone dry in a room where all the glasses sweated. "Show me the texts." "Oh my God, you're being controlling." He rolled his eyes and, because mojitos like to turn hubris into honesty, handed me his phone to prove a point. "Good morning from her. Miss your laugh from him. Maybe someday from her. Are you happy? We'll see how it goes. From him." This was insurance. Hearts like signatures. "This is your plan B?" "Stop making it weird," he said lightly, not looking at me. Then, to the table. "Ladies, back me up. Every woman does this, right?" Most of them stared at their drinks, as if salvation might be muddled at the bottom. The part of me that still wanted us to work, it's smaller now, but it was loud then, studied him. 3 years together, an oval diamond we picked because it felt like us, understated, certain. Deposits paid in calendar blocks and bank statements, and he was keeping the door propped with an old key. "You know what?" I said softly. "You're absolutely right. That is smart planning." Miles brightened, relief moving across his face like weather. "See, I knew you." "In fact," I said, and smiled with all my teeth, "it's such good advice. I'm going to follow it." His smile tripped. "What do you mean?" I stood, smoothed my dress, and walked to the bar with a steadiness I didn't feel. My hands weren't shaking. They were remembering. The last time I'd texted Caleb North, we had been two good people making the right decision for the wrong future. He wanted rooted. I chased orbit. We ended kindly. I kept the kindness. "Hey, Caleb, been a while. How are you?" The cursor pulsed like a fingertip on a wrist. His reply came fast enough to be fate and slow enough to be respectable. "Tessa, wow. I'm good. Got promoted. You?" We traded updates like postcards. He'd run a half marathon. I'd finally outsourced my bookkeeping instead of living in spreadsheets at midnight. He was single. I said I was reassessing dynamics in my life. By the time the bartender said a water I wouldn't drink, we'd agreed on coffee Thursday as friends. When I rejoined the table, Miles had arranged his face into careful nonchalance. "Everything okay?" "Perfect." I returned his phone. "Thank you for the lesson in modern risk management." Melody tried to pivot. Tammy didn't. "Tessa, it's not like we're just saying—" "I know exactly what you're saying," I told her, and my voice surprised me with how calm it sounded. "You don't cut the safety net, you make it prettier." On the ride home, the city looked like a screensaver I couldn't escape. Miles drummed his fingers on the wheel, a metronome for denial. "So you're mad." "No," I said. The truth tasted metallic. "I'm taking your advice." He snorted. "What does that mean?" "I'm having coffee with an old friend Thursday," I said. "His name is Caleb, from my gym years ago." He almost missed the light. "You dated him?" "Briefly, before I chose you." He laughed, brittle. "This is different." "Because?" "Because we're engaged," he said. "And Brielle is just texting. Caleb actually wants you." There it was, the part he couldn't swallow. Not my principle, but my options. At home, he tried again, angling for familiar ground. "Tess, come on, you know you're my person." I looked at the ring he helped pick, the one that made my hand look sure even when I wasn't. "Then why did you need a spare?" He didn't have an answer, so he reached for the easiest one. "You're overreacting." I stared past him at the doorway we'd painted together one Sunday afternoon, when future meant something you build, not something you hedge. Somewhere in the other room, my phone buzzed. "Can't wait to catch up." "Thursday 6? See, I texted back 6 works, and Caleb, no backup plans, just coffee. He sent a thumbs up and a line that felt like a promise without pressure. I'll be there. I set the phone down and walked to the sink. The kitchen smelled like limes and yesterday's laughter. Miles wrapped his arms around my waist, practiced warmth, as if choreography could quiet consequence. Babe, he murmured into my hair, let's not make this a thing. You already did, I said, and turned off the light. In the dark reflective glass, I could see us. Two outlines on opposite sides of a decision. One of us still thought love was a house with a spare key hidden under the mat. The other had just decided to change the locks. Thursday arrived like a held breath. All day, the clock insisted on being looked at. I wore the kind of outfit that couldn't be misread. Clean lines, nothing suggestive, the Switzerland of dresses. If there's a way to be scrupulously innocent, I chose it. Caleb was already at the cafe, the one with the fern wall and the soft lamps that make strangers look kind. He stood when he saw me. That used to be ordinary. Now it felt like a rare species. Hi, Tess, he said, and it landed like a hand on a railing. We ordered coffees we didn't need and talked the way people do when history isn't radioactive. Work, his promotion, my bookkeeper finally rescuing me from tax season spreadsheets. The conversation had a pace I'd forgotten. Unperformed, unrushed. When he laughed, it wasn't aimed at a camera. So, he said eventually, gentle as a stethoscope, trouble in paradise? Something like that. I told him about the party, the mojitos, Brielle. The word insurance said like a compliment. I watched his face shift. Not judgment exactly. Grief for me, maybe. He told you to your face you're replaceable. Caleb shook his head. That's not security. That's a contingency against loving you. The sentence sat between us. Taking up the chair Miles never noticed was empty. I'm not here to recruit you, I said. I'm not a person who strings. I know, he said. If we ever try again, you'd be my only plan. He didn't let the sentence end with a hook, just a fact, placed on the table next to the sugar packet. We left it there, paid, and stood in that awkward doorway space where the future pretends to be weather. Outside, he asked, Are you safe? Always, I said. I document. I meant it as a joke. It wasn't one. Miles was waiting when I got home, perched on the arm of the couch like an accusation. How was coffee? He asked, stretching the word into something with lipstick on it. Good, I said, hanging up my coat. He's running another marathon. He's happy. We're having dinner Saturday. The temperature in the room changed without the thermostat moving. We have plans Saturday, he snapped. You have plans with Tiffany, your sister. Dinner was your suggestion, remember? So I wouldn't be bored. That was before you decided to take your advice and keep a backup? I let the ends of the sentence touch. He swallowed the retort and grabbed for logic like it might float. This is different. Because? Because Brielle is hypothetical and Caleb is real. I tilted my head. Hearts are real. Maybe someday is real. We'll see how it goes is real. The only hypothetical here was my ignorance. He stormed into the kitchen and opened cabinets like doors could take a punch. You're punishing me. I'm mirroring you, I said. There's a difference. At midnight, I passed the bedroom on the way to brush my teeth and heard laughter. Tinny on a phone. I paused. The door was cracked. Miles was on FaceTime with Tammy and Rachel, half whispering urgency. Dude, Tammy said, you never cut a backup fully. You just manage them. Tell Brielle to chill, stop posting thirsty, keep her on red for a bit. Tessa will calm down. Rachel chimed in. And do not let Tessa keep seeing Caleb. That's not a backup. That's a threat. Miles squinted at the screen. How do I stop her without admitting? Damage control, Tammy said. Flip it on her. Call it emotional cheating. I stood there long enough to understand the religion of their advice. Then I walked to the living room, sat on the couch, and posted the digital equivalent of cracking a window in a smoky room. Relationship status, it's complicated. Within minutes, our phones went feral. Texts stacked like bricks. Deborah, Mom. Call me. Tiffany, what did he do? Unknown. Heard you're keeping options. Wow. Brielle slid into my Instagram DMs with the tone of a customer service rep who thinks she owns the store. Brielle. Hey girl, saw your status. Just wanted to say there's nothing to worry about. Miles and I are just friends. He's always told me you're the one. Me. Then why the hearts? Brielle, it's just our sense of humor. Me. Humor you keep secret from his fiancé? She switched masks so fast it squeaked. Brielle, look, don't be insecure. He needs emotional support you clearly aren't giving. Some women can handle that. I took a screenshot, then another when she escalated. Brielle, also, tell Caleb to stop sniffing around. Homewreckers don't win. Me. You've been sniffing for 3 years. Brielle. We have history. That's different. Me. Different how? She didn't answer. She started blocking. I saved everything twice. Cloud and hard drive. Then texted Caleb. Heads up. Someone named Brielle might message you. Don't engage. He responded with a thumbs up and then, you okay? I wrote, documenting. He replied, proud of you. Sleep if you can. Saturday's dinner with Caleb was normal, steady. We ate noodles too fast and made fun of the playlist like civilians. No flirtation auditioned. No future stood on tiptoe. When he walked me to my car, he said, whatever you decide, decide it whole. Then he put his hands in his pockets and didn't hug me. That restraint felt like the opposite of a backup. It felt like respect. I drove home into a storm I could smell before I saw it. Upstairs, Miles had set the table with candles like apology theater. He'd shaved. He'd chosen the cologne he uses when he wants to seem like the best version of himself. Let's reset, he said, aiming his voice at a truce. I'll block Brielle. Show me, I said. He unlocked his phone, scrolled, pressed block with ceremony. I watched like a notary. The moment felt less like remorse and more like management. Now your turn, he said, brightening. Block Caleb. No, I said. His face cracked open. That's not fair. You're right, I said. It's not. Here's the math. You kept Brielle warm for 3 years. I've had coffee with Caleb for 1 week, so I'll stop in 2027. That's insane. That's math. He stared, bruised by an equation he'd written. I'm just scared, he said finally, voice lower, edges gone. What if I commit and you leave? Brielle made it feel like someone would always want me. There it is, I said, soft because the truth had finally arrived. You didn't keep a backup because I was lacking. You kept one because you were. He flinched. I can fix it. You can start therapy, I said. Fixing is a bigger verb. He reached for me. I stepped back. My phone buzzed. Caleb, just 2 words. Get some rest. I didn't answer. I turned my screen over. Please, Miles whispered. I love you. Then why did you need a net? I asked. If you trusted us to walk the wire. Outside, thunder rehearsed. Inside, a candle guttered in the draft and then went out. I left it dark. By Sunday morning, the relationship wasn't a home anymore. It was a waiting room. Every sound felt like a clock ticking towards something inevitable. Then came the group text. Deborah, Miles's mom. Family dinner tonight. Non-negotiable. A summons, no context needed. When I arrived at the Avery's suburban fortress of good taste, the air smelled like roast chicken and impending judgment. Miles's parents, Deborah and Frank, sat at the dining table. His sister Tiffany leaned against the counter, scrolling her phone like she was taking notes for the prosecution. Tessa, Deborah said with her practiced warmth, we're all adults here. Let's talk like adults. Miles shot me a plating glance, his silent script cue. Frank folded his hands. So, this backup plan situation. Miles opened his mouth. It's been blown out of proportion. Tiffany snorted. Blown out? You literally called your ex your contingency plan, Miles. At an engagement party. While drunk. Deborah winced. Honey, don't be cruel. I'm not, Tiffany said. I'm quoting. Frank turned to me. Tessa, tell us your side. I pulled my phone from my bag and laid it face up. Here's everything. The screenshots, the texts, Brielle's DMs threatening my ex, the post-party FaceTime where your son's friends advised him to manage his side supply. The table went still. Deborah's expression crumpled into something between disbelief and heartbreak. Miles, please tell me this isn't real. It's exaggerated, he said quickly. Brielle and I have history, that's all. I just needed reassurance sometimes. Frank's voice sharpened. From another woman? I didn't cheat. You trained for it, Tiffany muttered. Deborah inhaled shakily. Why didn't you talk to Tessa if you were insecure? Miles looked small suddenly, his bravado melting. Because she's capable, unshakable. I didn't want her to see how scared I was. That was new. Honesty, dragged out like an apology with splinters. Scared of what? I asked quietly. Of being replaced, he said, and looked right at me. By people like him. Him, meaning Caleb? Miles nodded. He's what women upgrade to. Steady, calm, already successful. I knew if you ever looked back, you'd see what you missed. Tiffany exhaled a laugh that wasn't funny. So you kept Brielle as emotional bubble wrap. Classic. Deborah's voice trembled. That isn't love, Miles. That's panic dressed up as romance. He pressed his palms together. I know. I just didn't want to be the one left behind. Something in me softened, but it was the kind of softness that follows a burn, sensitive, not forgiving. Miles, I said, you kept Brielle not because you didn't trust me, but because you didn't trust that you were enough, and you punished me for it anyway. He blinked fast like he was trying not to cry. Can we fix this? Frank leaned back, the sound of his chair scraping finality into the moment. You can start by getting therapy, both of you. But son, you don't get to keep someone hostage while you decide whether you deserve them. Deborah nodded, her voice gentler. Tessa, dear, whatever you decide, we'll understand. That undid me a little. Thank you, I whispered. Miles reached for my hand. I'll do anything. I'll block her again. Delete everything. I'll even apologize publicly if that's what you want. I didn't move. You've been keeping Brielle as insurance for 3 years. I had coffee with Caleb for 1 week. Do you know what that ratio feels like? He said nothing. It feels like math that doesn't add up, I said, and I'm tired of solving equations alone. Deborah covered her face, whispering, God, this is heartbreaking. It's preventable, Frank said simply. Next time, don't mistake attention for safety. Tiffany looked at her brother, eyes tired. You had everything real, Miles, and you traded it for a maybe. He looked at me like a drowning man, finally realizing he'd been holding the rope the wrong way. Tess, I swear. No, I said softly. Don't swear, just learn. He slumped back, silent. The smell of roasted chicken turned metallic, unappetizing. After a few minutes, Deborah stood. Dinner's ruined. Everyone eat or don't. I can't stomach pretending right now. She walked out, wiping at her eyes. Tiffany followed her. Frank stayed a moment longer, his voice low. He loves you, Tessa. But love without security is like a house without walls. Eventually, the weather wins. When I stepped out into the cool night, Miles followed me to the driveway. Please, don't end us like this. I turned. I'm not ending us tonight. I'm just not protecting you from yourself anymore. Lightning flashed somewhere far off. No thunder yet. Just light pretending it wasn't warning. Inside the car, my phone buzzed. A message from Caleb. You did the right thing. Proud of you. I stared at it, the words glowing faintly against the dark dashboard. For the first time in weeks, I didn't reply. Some choices need silence to mean yes. By Friday morning, the house felt like a hotel after checkout. Same furniture, no warmth. Miles had started leaving early for work and coming home late enough to make absence seem polite. I wasn't angry anymore, just done. I called the venue first. The woman on the line sounded genuinely sorry when she said she'd refund half the deposit. You're lucky you called today, she said. Tomorrow's the non-refundable deadline. Lucky. That word used to mean him. Next came the caterer, the florist, the photographer. I explained it simply each time. We're canceling the wedding. None of them asked why. People can hear heartbreak in tone the way dogs hear pitch. When the calls were done, I sat on the floor surrounded by paperwork that smelled faintly of roses and lemon disinfectant. It looked like the aftermath of optimism. Miles came in mid-afternoon, still in his suit, tie loosened like surrender. What's all this? Logistics, I said, not looking up. The vendors, the dress shop, the lease. He blinked. The lease? We moved into my condo. I'm taking you off the paperwork. Tessa, you can't just decide that. You decided it when you spent 3 years making me optional. He took a shaky breath, rubbing the back of his neck. I said I'd fix it. I'll block her again. I'll delete everything. You can't delete history. He knelt, desperate now. I'll change, I swear. I'll go to therapy. I'll prove it to you. I met his eyes. Then do it for yourself, not for me. He exhaled, chest collapsing like a lung punctured by reality. There is no me without you. That's the problem, I said quietly. He sat back on his heels, eyes glassy. So that's it? No. I handed him an envelope. You have 30 days. It's more than fair. Keep the ring. Sell it. Pawn it. Consider it payment for 3 years of being my fiancé on paper. Tessa, you had me as plan A, I said. Now I'm letting you find out what it feels like to be someone's backup plan. He flinched like I'd hit him. I stood, brushed invisible dust off my jeans, and walked to the door. Behind me, he whispered, You don't love me anymore. I turned. I do. I just finally love myself too. Saturday morning, I woke to the sound of a car horn, a long, pathetic honk. When I looked out the window, I froze. Brielle, standing in my driveway, makeup streaked, waving her phone like evidence, and next to her, half ashamed, half defiant, Miles. They looked like an aftershock that didn't know the earthquake was over. I opened the door before they could knock. This is creative, I said. Did you two drive here together or just crash into the same mistake? Tessa, please, Miles started. She just wants to talk. I bet she does. Brielle stepped forward, voice trembling between rage and heartbreak. He said he still loves me. I looked at Miles. Is that true? His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Brielle turned to him. Tell her, Miles. Tell her you chose me. He closed his eyes. I didn't choose anyone. I messed up. That's not what you told me last night, she shouted. You said she was done with you and that I was the one who never gave up. Her mascara was streaking down like battle paint. I crossed my arms. Brielle, you were never the one who never gave up. You were the one who was never picked. That's not loyalty. That's waiting for a vacancy. She blinked, stunned, and then turned that hurt into fury. You think you're better than me? No, I said softly. I just stopped needing proof that I'm wanted. Miles ran a hand down his face, voice cracking. Both of you, please, just stop. Brielle laughed, hollow. You deserve each other. No, I said, stepping aside so she could see the empty living room behind me. He deserves exactly what he built. Nothing. She stormed off. Miles stayed, staring at the ground like maybe there was still a way to dig back into the past. You can still hate me, he whispered. I don't, I said. Hate takes energy. You already drained enough. He looked up, tears tracing overgrown stubble. I never meant to lose you. You didn't lose me, Miles. You misplaced me somewhere between ego and fear. He nodded slowly and for once didn't argue. He just left. 2 weeks later, Veronica, sorry Brielle, had gone nuclear online, posting screenshots, half-truths, and eventually her own confession. I was his backup plan, and I let him ruin me. Miles's sister Tiffany sent me the link with a single message. She finally got honest. I didn't reply. I was too busy booking flights. The ticket confirmation glowed on my laptop. Paris, Rome, Lisbon, solo trip. The wedding savings were now a self-rescue fund. Before leaving, I posted one last photo on Instagram, a package-sized suitcase beside my passport. Caption: upgraded my honeymoon to a self-discovery tour. No backup plan needed. An hour later, a message appeared from Caleb. Buy you a drink when you get back. As friends, or whatever we decide we are by then. I typed back, no backup plans. He sent a heart. Some nights on the trip, I caught myself reaching for the space beside me out of habit. Then I'd stop, realizing it wasn't emptiness, it was room. In Florence, I wrote a single line in my travel journal. Love should never be a contingency. I closed the notebook and smiled. Some people need a safety net. I'd rather learn to fly.